This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. I gotta try to fix that audio again. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. There it goes. It's gonna make a crazy noise. So plug your ears, everybody. Plug your ears. It's coming. Hold on a second. Oh, shoot. Have to try it again. Hold on. Oh, I know what it is. I'll try to add the reboot. Might take a second. I guess I don't have to be in the dark. I can still be here, but I'm trying to fix this. Hey, there we go. There we go. Hey. All right. Hey, thank you, Tamara. Can we get a boom shakalaka? And where are you today, Marty McFly? We were all just so crazy. And the only just verdict is a not guilty. I'm leaving, Gray. Was a nice ride. Hey, thanks, Scoutin' Dude, and Jim Lawn. Very generous, Scoutin' Dude. Thank you so much. Jim Lawn. Welcome, Arlene C. And then we had Maxine Van Dyke, and then Eugenie, and then Tamara. Not today, but tomorrow. Thank you. You know, I had it all. I thought it was going to be a long, I was hoping it would be after the closing arguments of the prosecution, I was like, okay, I think this might be guilty right away, but I wasn't sure, so, Thank you, Mag. And welcome, Kim Brulette, or I don't know if I said that right. Did I say that right? Brule, or... Thank you, Robert Richburg. Anyways, I hope you guys have... I thought it was kind of a long odyssey that we went on, but we pretty much covered every single day of the trial as it was going on. And, played it in fast speed, and everybody was following along, and, it was sort of... It's not my normal gig, but, we'll probably do the same thing if it happens to be where in the Lori Daybell case they do the same thing. We'll obviously have to cover that one. But I don't think that one was made public. Thank you, K-Me.
Yeah. On this case, Gray. That
oh, thanks, Robert.
As the day is long, digging these in-depth shows, so keep up the great work.
Yeah. So what I did was I recorded everything as it was, today in fast speed. I'm just going to leave out Jim Griffin. It was so boring, and I wouldn't want to put you guys through that. Fitsnews thought that they made good points, but I didn't think so at all. It was all just made up shit, an alternate view of reality on everything, and it just, I don't know. I didn't think it was very good. I mean, we don't have to agree on everything. I like their coverage the whole time, though. Cool people over there. That's why I have the freaks go check it out over there.
Sorry they asked to visit the scene of the crime.
Watching court TV is sort of like watching, Inside Edition or something. It's just the same people over and over and over again. So, that's why I think it's cool to watch Fitsnews, who's been covering it since the Mallory Beach boating accident, all the way up and through all of it. And we're ahead of everybody. I mean, they should get all of the credit for it even being a huge story. They were the ones that discussed it, made it sort of popular, and just is what it is. I think it's amazing that here's what I think happened. So they went back to deliberate, and then about an hour in, they asked to see some audio or something.
He really blew his family's brains out.
Yep. Well, of course he did, yeah. So I think there was a lot of people there that were out there that were on the jury. I think there was people that probably said, you know what, they all voted and it was 12-0 guilty. But one of them might have said something like, but I just want to see one more thing, one more time. And they watched it, they talked about it, boom. That was it. It was just probably 2 hours and 45 minutes. Done. It was pretty awesome. And then there's people that they don't like how my personality is, because when you get people in here often, then they'll just be like, no, Greg. What do you mean you don't see reason? What about this? What about that? What about... And it's just like, if you're paying attention to the trial, none of those things existed that people would say. And so that's where I start saying stuff like, if you think there's reasonable doubt in this case, your brain isn't working correctly. Now, that's about the politest way I can do it, but I actually believe that, because there is none. After the prosecution cross-examined Alec Murdaugh, there was no reasonable doubt whatsoever in the case, and I know it's, people get offended by it. And look at the polls yesterday. In here, it was like, what was it, 60, or what was it, 70% to 30? Isn't that weird? And I was sitting there saying, wow, there's 100 people that need a lobotomy or something, whatever I said. But it's true, right? I mean, it's just, how do you guys see things like that? It's scary almost. That means if you were on a jury, you would be one of the people making it a hung jury. And like Marty McFly said, there's, let's see, what was, I don't even remember now. Justice, it wouldn't be justice without, the only just verdict is a not guilty verdict. Really? I don't, Samara. I think that person's a clown.
Ocean wave.
Let's see. Pam Cakes. Hey, thank you. An alley cake. Yeah. Yeah, especially the way he was in here and he just went off like a wacko. Gray, it was a great ride. It was a great ride, Gray, but, the only just verdict is a not guilty. Wow. Well, it's okay. I didn't mind him before, but it's so childish to act like that, Yeah, well, I don't know if they get weeded out. But I think it's amazing, Maybe it's because in the South people have more common sense than other places. They just sort of live life common sensely instead of, ooh, did you see what it said on that show? Ooh. And just getting really amped up about everything. Let's see. Yeah, and I'm telling you, if it was a hung jury, I thought that was going to be a really good possibility, because there's always somebody. But this time there wasn't. They did make, early in the day, a jury, it was found out that a jury member was talking to people outside of court, and they were removed from the jury. They were one of the 12 on there. And then they replaced that person, I believe, with a man. Who knows what that... It'd be interesting to talk to the one that was removed and see what she was leaning. Wouldn't that be just really bad luck if she was like, oh no, I didn't think he did it at all. Oh yeah. Well, thanks, Serena. Yeah, no, it's what I'm saying is I know people say that a lot, but people do it all the time. I mean, fathers kill their kids and their wives all the damn time, and it's usually because of financial pressure and things like that, like murder-suicides. Elliot couldn't do the murder-suicide. He was protecting his name. He needed to thrive and continue. Yeah. Thanks, Cheyenne R. And Sabrina said, I knew he did it, but it's hard to believe a father could do that in real life. But I knew he did. Yeah. Yeah, no, Well, anyways, you guys, let's just watch. Here's what I thought was crazy. You know the attorney that always has his head buried in his hands? He was so phenomenal. he took over the closing argument. And he did the second half of the rebuttal to the closing argument. And he was freaking amazing. I mean, he just totally changed my mind on him. Yeah, Medders. Isn't that amazing? Like, he's sitting over there with his hands in his face, always just making it look like they're losing. And then he gets up there and boom. Yeah. I don't think he has the ability to, Lane S. He's kind of an ego person. He's going to try to fight really hard on. If he doesn't, he exhausts all of his appeal chances. I don't know if it's not as easy when you're not getting the death penalty or something. I know, isn't that weird, Dan? Yeah, that is kind of exactly what you think. It looks really cool from the outside, too. Thank you, Traveling Teresa. And Sabrina, how the kids doing? Yeah, there's 2 baby freaks out there. Hey, thank you, Traveling Teresa, Cindy Lou, and Christy. And wow, thanks, Christy. A cat eye.
I watch you because of your common sense and you tell it like it is. Good show, always great.
Well, thank you. Oh, yeah. Right about me, it's true about something we did, as well do. You might not have heard, or maybe you have it. When I first heard all day was like, used to get angry and all uptight. You could say what you want, to spell my name right. All the because he was rocking the house. That's what the rumor was all about. That's the one I do with straight drive. Griminator Patty. And the Tridelts. Yeah. I'm not sure if I saw. I'm trying to find Sabrina Rodriguez's reply. I didn't see it. I tried. Everything was moving by so fast. Hey, come on. No, I'm pretty good, Charisma. You don't ever stay to the end of the show to know, so. Let's see. I've heard the dancing on. Yeah, it's kind of new. Can you tell me what the dancing...
Boom.
The dancing taco
Collision.
means
Collision.
absolutely
Collision.
nothing.
Collision. Justice.
It's just a dancing taco that people like. Maybe Taco Tuesday. Oh, there it is. Sabrina Rodriguez says, they are great. We love you, Gray. Love you too, Sabrina.
Thank you for the trial coverage and hard work.
Oh, Sophia and... I just remembered in my head, right? Sophia and baby Santiago. They've all been born while she's been watching the show. And I was really disappointed when she didn't name one Gray, but, you know, that's just my narcissism coming out. You know, everybody on YouTube who has a channel is a narcissist. People can't come up with other ones. Why don't you diagnose me with something else, all right? Hey, thanks, Brianna25. Gray, you're such a narcissist. Gee. Yeah. Anyways, I'm just gonna play Medder's closing argument, and then it's the jury instructions, which were kind of interesting, and then the verdict, and then his comments at the end. All right, was that cool, everybody? It's only an hour. I got it down to an hour and like 40 minutes total, so should be good. We all have the traits of a personality. Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right, you guys ready? I'm gonna switch over to this screen here. He was really good, man. He told the story like it should be told. Told him.
Finally,
Jesus.
Someone put some respect on that bestest boy's name.
What was that? Super chat is just there to say thank you for Bubba. Finally, someone put some respect on the bestest good boy's name. Yeah, it was kind of neat because this closing argument, he mentions Bubba. How if not for Bubba grabbing the chicken, we wouldn't even have heard Alec's voice on the Snapchat video. And that is true. And then also the fact that Paul recorded it all, right? I mean, just those two things are the key to the case. And then the GM, I think the GM data and the Snapchat video are really the key things. The stepping stuff is a little weird, you know, like it sort of makes sense, but I don't know. I don't know when they do that. Do they do the don't they do stuff like the appeals and then they release things? I don't know. So anyways, here we go. And by the way, if I was going to play Jim, I just would have had this music playing the whole time. That would have just been if Jim was there, okay? Yeah. No, I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. This guy, he's awesome, this judge. So you get to see how it went down, you guys. You get to see how it went down.
On behalf of the Attorney General Alan Wilson, Deputy Don Lincoln, Deputy Attorney General Craig Waters, and this entire team, and I want to name them all, but thank you for being here. Thank you for the attention you give in this case. Being a juror is not an easy job.
That's the thing, Brianna. You could tell he just knew he just wasn't buying into his own shit. I got to tell you, it was and also Alec going on the stand. So it's the video, GM data, and Alec going on the stand killed him. I mean, imagine if Alec didn't do on the stand. Some of that lying to the jury part would have been, man, it was a horrible move. Classic as the reason why you never take the stand unless it's, absolutely necessary. He was in a pretty good hung jury place at that point. But he thought, man, I've been lying my whole life. I'm going to get up here and lie some more. And he got caught in it. The jury knew he was lying. And they didn't buy a damn thing he said. They didn't believe anything he was saying in the 911 calls anymore. They didn't believe anything he was saying in the body camera footage. That was, what an absolute moron, okay? What do you mean, Gray was pretty smart? He could have went up. Okay, well, regular people aren't suckers like that. Well, I guess regular people are suckers sometimes, but most of us can spot them, right? Like when we're doing, you see these, the trolls that show up in chat, they're gone. It's like ding, 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 right?
I'm not a jury watcher. I don't sit and stare at jurors, but goodness knows we've been here 6 weeks. I have looked over occasionally. Not to pry, but I've noticed when I have looked, you've all paying attention, so thank you. 6 weeks. Thank you.
It's
sped
up.
I'm not going to be that long.
I have it sped up at like 1.5, 1.25, 1.25 sometimes.
Your clerk, Ms. Hill, has done an outstanding job bringing the world to Colleton County, bringing the world right here with the hospitality of her grace, making everything as convenient as you can.
I can boost it up a little bit, the audio. Just, God, it always does. Just a second. I'll just make it like 4 decibels louder. There you go.
But the one thing she didn't do and couldn't do is give you a booklet on how to be a juror. 5.5 weeks ago when y'all got here, 6 weeks ago, she didn't have that pamphlet for you because they don't exist. There's not a book on how to be a juror. But you have been preparing for this moment in this courtroom to decide this case your entire life. And it's called life. It's called living. It's called experiences. It's called interacting with your spouse, your children.
I'm actually shocked that this guy was able to pull that off. Aren't you a little bit? Like he wasn't really good on his witnesses. You could tell the jury. I thought the jury maybe didn't like him.
Neighbors, your coworkers, your good experiences, your bad experiences, evaluating people and deciding what's credible, what's believable. It's true in every case I've ever tried in my 34 years of doing nothing but.
All right, I'm gonna make it like 2 less. That's a little loud. It's blowing out the level thing.
But murder case. Credibility, believability. And I agree with Mr. Griffin. When I looked at this case the first time, I said to myself, this is a CSC case. Now, in our world, that means criminal sexual conduct. It's not a criminal sexual conduct case. This is a common sense case. And you didn't leave that common sense with you when you came here 6 weeks ago. It's with you now. It's been with you during the 6 weeks here, and you're going to take it back into the jury room.
No, it wasn't that. He was just kind of, he's sitting over on the side. So you like this part, Dan, when you would do this? This is the part I didn't like about it. He'd go like this. While his own guy is on the stand, Clayton is cross-examining somebody. He's got this look on his face like, oh yeah, God, we just suck. And he's got that like the whole time. That's why I didn't like him. I thought he looked like, wow, you just look terrible in the background on every shot. And the jury can see your mannerisms, and that matters a lot, stuff like that. But he totally turned it around here.
I've been listening
It was
yesterday
funny,
and
but
today,
it's still
we all have, about law enforcement didn't do this, law enforcement didn't do that. I think they actually said they fabricated evidence. Putting law enforcement on trial. I once called Mr. Harpootlian in a trial an automatic smoke screen machine. I think what the defense is doing in this case is
hold on,
more
let
like
me
an eclipse.
switch back
You remember
over.
that eclipse on August 17th of 2017? Where it kind of got dark for a little bit? And the birds started chirping and you felt like it was
But you don't want to look at my face?
dark. And then
You guys are mean.
it cleared, the eclipse went over and the light came back. That's what the defense is doing. Taking
I want to put you
away
guys in prison.
from the facts, from the credibility, and saying, wait a minute, there's a eclipse here, there's a smoke screen here, look at that. And somebody said the word offensive. I find it offensive that a family with a great-grandfather, a grandfather, a father, Celeste Randolph Murdaugh, who was good to me when I was a young man prosecutor. He knew I wanted to do this as my job. He knew I cared about this job. This is the best job in the world. I tried to be solicitor 3 times as well. It doesn't get any better than this job. And I find it offensive that the defense, through the defendant, who was also a part-time solicitor,
Yeah, can you please hit the like button? Thanks.
is claiming that law enforcement didn't do their job. Listen to me, please. Didn't do their job while he is withholding and obstructing justice by not saying, I was down at the kennels. I was down at the kennels. I was down at the kennels. And he's going to blame everybody.
That's perfect. Obstructing justice.
Is that offensive? Is that offensive? Mr. Griffin said a minute ago, can you imagine coming up on the scene and seeing, can you imagine not telling law enforcement, lying that I was down there and I saw him, I was right there? Why wouldn't you tell them that?
Yeah, it'd be a lead.
Maybe get some more evidence. Did you hear somebody? No, I wasn't even down there.
I don't think he would have been found not
Credibility.
guilty, but it would have been a
Believable.
better chance of being hung jury.
That really does sum it up. You remember 6 weeks ago today when Mr. Waters' fantastic opening and talked about direct evidence. And direct evidence is something you know it when you see it. It's evidence you gather with one of your senses. You hear it, you feel it, you smell it, you touch it, and you come in here and tell witnesses, hey, this is what I heard, what I felt, what I smelled, what I touched. But do you remember when he was describing circumstantial evidence?
3 hours.
There was a storm that day coming. Part of his theme, the storm just happened to come. And you could hear it coming. And then, during part of his opening, you remember it started raining? You could hear it. You could feel it. It's almost like circumstantial evidence morphed into direct evidence. And that's what happened in this case. Circumstantial evidence became direct evidence in many instances. This case is about two things. It's about being real, and choices. My mama gave me a book when I was a little boy about this.
Somebody asked, why do you think he killed them? I think he killed them because the financial pressures and, you know, Maggie was starting to come around to what was going on. And, you know, if you kill Paul, by killing, excuse me, killing Paul took away the criminal suit against him. And then the civil suit, it made the jury way more sympathetic. I mean, not the jury, but the public way more sympathetic, and thus the jury, in a civil case. And that worked perfectly. So
the Velveteen Rabbit is actually going off to college, dealing with people and learning about people and tough times in life. Go get the Velveteen Rabbit and read it if you haven't already. But she just put in the front of that book, and I love my mama. Always be real. Always be real. And this case is about that defendant.
I just want to say I have sent out all the notebooks, 37 of them, I think. It was crazy. I had so many of them back, but they're all out now. So if you want a notebook, if you want for those notebooks that I have, you just send 25 on PayPal. You get the notebook with the 2 pens. If you send in 30, you get one of the stress balls stuck in there too. All right.
Never being real.
Yeah, it took me like 3 hours or 4 hours to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, but they blame everybody but Alex. Everybody but Alex. Let's go back to the first. I'm not going to bring it out. But this back here, the press release was sent out.
Oh, cool.
There's no danger. There's no danger. What did Alex not do?
Yeah, there's no holdouts.
He's asking the sheriff, I think, to call Buster. First time he tried to call Buster, took the sheriff a while to get out there. You know when the first time he called Buster? It's about 40 minutes. Well, actually, he texted him, didn't even call him. Wasn't his first thought. Wasn't the thing after he did 911. It was later. Perhaps even when some of his friends had gotten there. Oh, don't call. No, right off the bat, this happened, call my son. Call him. Buster, stay where you are. You with your girlfriend? Up there in North Charlotte? Go. We got some people after us.
I mean, this guy it's such great points what he's saying. Yeah, isn't that what you would be doing? I mean,
that's what's real. Don't you? You go to the police station right there. And what else do you do too? You don't talk about being real. What do you do? Y'all, I just left my mama. She's with Shelly. Get somebody over there. Get them over there. If these people are out here to kill us, get them over there. Go, please, take them right now. They're by themselves. I can't do that. That's why I took the guns. I can't tell them that. That's what's real. And he brings up the boat case right away. Right away. A year and a half previous. It's coming up for a hearing. Nobody's thinking about that boat case.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting about the, because he's saying, see, he had already taken the guns to Alameda, right? And so, you know, in our minds, we're thinking, oh, wouldn't law enforcement have just checked there the next day? But no, see, they didn't know anything about those trips until they did a bunch of phone analysis and ping data. So he had a long time to go over there, but then he used a different car when he went over there, and he showed up at weird times. And so when we think about it ourselves, we're like, oh, wow, yeah, well, how come they just didn't go over there right away? Well, I bet you he didn't. Well, he did mention, though, that he went to his mom's house, though, didn't he? So I'm not sure. Yeah, but at the time, they're not going to go search his mom's house. So he had time to go back and move those guns. I guarantee it, when he parked at his mom's house back there, that's when he hid the guns, at least, and then he moved them permanently at another time.
Except Alice.
I don't think they're ever going to be seen again.
Using it to throw off. Here's your first suspect. Does that make any sense? They have a hearing coming up. They're going to look to resolve this thing. Nobody's out there thinking about a boat case on a Monday night. Anybody upset about that? Think about all the facts that would have to happen. They'd have to know both, as Mr. Waters said, somebody in the boat case would have to know that they're both there. They'd have to know they were there. They'd have to know that Alex just wasn't there. Oh, no, wait a minute. That he was there, but just for a little bit and went back up to the house. And they'd have to come. You know what? We don't need a gun. There'll be guns there for us to use. Yeah, so that's great circumstantial great evidence. I'll get to that. They'll have guns there for us. They'll have guns there for us. We can use them. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Thanks, Caligal 3.
Let's talk about murder. Murder is the intentional, malicious killing of another living, breathing human being with malice aforethought. What's malice? Y'all know what malice is? It's the name malice. It's the evil wickedness one person shows to another. You know how long it's got to exist? Just like that. At the pulling of a trigger. 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 Malice aforethought. It can be expressed. Rarely happens. I'm going to kill you. Or it can be inferred. It can be inferred with the use of one gun. There's no claim of self-defense here. They're claiming they weren't there. It can be inferred 2 guns. Malice aforethought. And we don't have premeditation in this state. We don't have to prove premeditation. We don't have to prove motive. I think it's been proven. His world was collapsing. Mr. Griffin goes, does that make sense? In his mind. His world's collapsing. His world's coming down. This was the only way he could save. It's the only way he could save Alex. But if that motive, well, I don't know, is that enough? Don't know. We don't have to prove motive. We're certainly there. That's one explanation. But if he's down there and he's angry, just don't sound like a real jovial there. Bubba! Don't let me forget about Bubba. Bubba! Come here. Maybe he just got angry. Maybe he got angry at Paul. Maybe he got angry, you started all this with the boat case. And maybe he just lost it. Maybe he just lost it.
Thank you, Claudia. Claudia Newbauer.
Maybe it looked like a suicide. And then Maggie came. And he had to shoot her. I don't know. Only one person knows. And that's why we've got the motive. That's why we say he did it. But we don't even have to have motive. Just angry.
But Maggie wouldn't have believed it was a suicide. He had to kill them both. They're down there playing with the dog. He's taking Snapchat videos, and all of a sudden he's going to kill himself in a 2-minute period of time. Yeah, right.
He did it. Nobody else could have done it. Nobody else did do it. I'm going to get to that, and that's how we prove beyond, I want to say all doubt, but our burden's only reasonable doubt. But losing it, and then you get the question, well, have you proven malice? Well, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. 2 shots to Paul. Malicious. First one.
By the way, Chasing Truth's going to owe me $50. We bet on it. She was like, you're crazy, Gray. You think he's guilty? Oh, my God. And the only way we could win is if he was guilty or not guilty, knowing that hung jury was a really likely possibility. So, let her know, everybody. Let her know. I won.
5 shots to Maggie. Not an accident. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots, maybe 5 shots, depending on whether this one's running through.
Oh, you don't like the horn?
That's malicious. Trying to kill them, and you get
Stay awake, everybody.
I don't think there's any dispute about that this is a malicious killing. But I've got to go over that with you. Malice aforethought. And then the burden on us in this case, as in every case that's tried in this wonderful land of ours, that's why this is so great, I agree with you, is beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to borrow one of these waters if that's okay. It's not beyond all doubt. If that's the case, this courtroom wouldn't have been here historically as long as it had. The law doesn't describe that, and listen to His Honor. And I'm not playing up to him, he is the best. He's the law. Listen to him when he reads the law.
I wasn't really happy, Jesse. I was relieved. You know, I wasn't like, yay! I mean, I'm like, I'm glad justice was done, but I didn't have like this overwhelming sense of joy. I thought it was more like, you know, it is justice for what he did to Paul and Maggie. You know, even if people aren't, you know, don't have a lot of like overly emotional feelings towards either of those, you know, Paul or Maggie, but you know, he murdered two people, a shotgun and an AR-15, merely for his own self-preservation. I mean, he's a freaking psycho. So I was happy that justice was done. I would have been really angry if it was not guilty, because that means our society is chock filled with idiots. Okay.
Beyond a reasonable doubt.
Hey, thanks, Brianna.
It's not beyond all doubt. We can't do that. It's beyond a doubt that would make reasonable folks hesitate to act. I was trying to retrial a case years ago and reading reasonable doubt from this excellent Mr. Wilson, not incorrect, describing reasonable doubt, and he said sometimes, you know, questions are just questions. You can't answer every question.
Thanks,
the law doesn't require.
Closing that really pissed me off. Maggie was running to her baby. Well, Alex was running to his baby, and Q Alex not reacting at all.
If after hearing all the evidence, you don't if you're firmly convinced of the defendant.
Guess we have to stop it again. I won't rap anymore. I like the beat though. I like the beat. Thank you.
Defendant's guilt, you must find him guilty. If, on the other hand, you're not firmly convinced, then you must find him not guilty.
Thank you, Alicia. Alicia? Probably Alicia, right? Not Alicia.
He goes to see his mother.
Jim tried to cry at the end.
And you see the
pull another
take
Alex.
him up to the side, over near the smokehouse. We submit to you that's when you went to hide the guns.
Okay, I'll get that in there. Hold on, let me start that part over. Hey, thanks, Vicky.
He goes to see his mother. He goes, and you see the OnStar taking him up to the side, over near the smokehouse. We submit to you that's when you went to hide the guns. It's common sense. We submit to you that there's a driveway there, a nice pavement. You can go look at it. Nice paved driveway. Submit to you when he came. It was 9:30 at night. The testimony is very unusual, very rare. Kind of funny. His Miss Nixon, who testified earlier, we talked to her recently. Didn't remember any of the conversation, but said she called and said he told him your dad's not doing well. Well, he didn't go over there that afternoon when he got the phone call, when his office is right near there. Go see him then. He didn't do that. He waited to 9:30. I don't know if anybody's got any folks that are suffering from Alzheimer's, but when they're asleep, they're tired. He wasn't going to love his mama. He wasn't going to be with her. He was going there because he loves Alex. He loves Alex. And he was going there to create his alibi. At 9:30 at night, use your common sense. And you remember, she said he called. What happened after that? Well, it's about 5 minutes or so. At first I was thinking, look, that's when he was going to hide the gun. And the time frame over there is so important, not for how long he was from left to come back, but it's how long he was in there with Shelley. How long he was in there. Because that's when he was hiding the guns. The guns are missing, y'all. He was hiding the guns. And what did Shelley say? He didn't stay long. 15, 20 minutes. He left. And later that week, later that week, And I don't know which one in my mind right now.
I don't think there is a death penalty for this
But one of the
case.
days she came by, I think it was after the visitation, and he says, Shelley, you remember I was here about 35 or 40 minutes? Y'all remember looking at her up here on the stand?
Please hit that like button.
I said, what's wrong? Asked her, what's wrong? What's wrong there? Was he there 35, 40 minutes? No, sir. Why are you upset? It's a good family. You think she knew right then? He's coming back to say, hey, I was here 35, 40 minutes now visiting my mom. Shelley said, no. No, you weren't. So upset that she calls her brother, police officer in Yamasee. You think she knew right then? And that's real. That's real. Shelley's real. You saw her, but body language is so important.
I know they didn't request it because it wasn't appropriate for the case.
All our body language. You see Shelley's?
I think the evidence or whatever it was.
And then one day that week, never before, never ever before, at 6:30 in the morning, doesn't call. He didn't need a timeline to create for that one visit. Didn't want a timeline. Didn't want a record of that. He comes to see Shelley. You ever been over that time before? No. What was he carrying? It was some blue vinyl like. Remember I tried to. What? It's like this. What do you think it was? A tarp. I don't know what it was. And they try to gloss over it now. Hey, one thing they didn't gloss over. You remember when she was on the stand? I said, well, have you talked to them? Have you talked to their investigators? Yes, sir. Did they record you? Yes, sir. Can I have a copy of it? And then we came back and we got a copy. And two investigators, they were worried about it then, went down and talked to her. And talked to her about her times and ran times by her and asked her if she'd ever seen anybody in this blue coat. They were worried about it. Because that's great circumstantial evidence. It kind of morphs into direct evidence. I saw him come in at 6:30. You even heard, they asked one of the experts, well, could it stay on there for 5 years, 10 years? Sure. This was days after the murder. Shelley sees him come in with a blue something. Well, where'd he go? He went upstairs. Why? I don't know. Did you see it later? Thought I saw it on the chair. Can't answer every question. Miss Mixon sure didn't see it the next day. Now, I asked her, was there another tarp there? Well, there was a blue and silver tarp. Picture of it, too. That wasn't it, though. This was all blue. And the only other blue tarp that's in evidence, and I let it go in just so I could argue this right now, is the tarp that they showed Jelly that they got from Kmart. That's not real. This tarp, no. Looked like that. I don't know what it was. He had it bundled up. Well, lo and behold, when we find out this information, and they try to make a big deal about it, I think it makes it more pure. She's at a traffic stop or an accident or something, she tells the police officer, I forgot about this. You can't make it up. So they get a search warrant, and they go search. And lo and behold, crumbled in the closet is a blue vinyl something where you pull it out, and it's this jacket. You see how evidence of a fact and another fact that leads to the fact in question? I don't know why he put it in there. I don't know why he killed his wife and son. I don't have to say why. I think he did it to protect the one he loved the most. The one he really loved the most. So he could keep his lifestyle and not be embarrassed financially. He wanted to keep going and loving Alex. I don't know why he did that jacket. Maybe it was Solicitor Murdaugh's jacket. Certainly consistent. It might have been in that truck. I think one of the family said he kept a lot of stuff in that truck. Might have been out in that something else. I don't know. But he brought it back in there and hid it. 6:30. Days after the killing. And what's inside? Wait a minute. What's on the outside? Well, there's a little bit gunshot here and there. What's on the inside? The inside. Minimum of 38 particles. It got so much that Megan Fletcher finally said, you know, I can't remember the term right now, we get so many, I just stopped. I'd been there for days. Gunshot resident. Inside the rain jacket, the blue tight garment that Shelley said, I saw him carrying something like that. He got rid of the guns, and he's hiding it there for some reason. Thank goodness he did. Thank goodness for Shelley for bringing that in. That's what he disposed of the guns with. And what else happened? He said he left, and before that, she thought he'd left, and he came back and he had moved to ATV, and then he said he was in another truck, and he came back, then he left. He's disposing and hiding whatever he was doing with that evidence. Only one person knows. With that blue rain jacket, that tarp, incredible circumstantial evidence that we ask you to consider when you go back there. Is Shelley making that up? How could she make that up? How could she know there'd be a blue tarp in that closet? Same closet, same stairs, he went upstairs, we went upstairs. I can't explain the tarp on the chair, don't have to. We can't answer every question. That doesn't mean it's not reasonable doubt. She saw a blue tarp light, it was in that closet, and it's got gunshot residue on it a few days after. Maggie and Paul were brutally murdered. And that's consistent with every reasonable.
So I really like that sentence you just said. This
Rid of the guns, and he's hiding it there for some reason. Thank goodness he did. Because thank goodness for Shelley for bringing that in.
It's right here.
He moved to ATV, and then he said he was in another truck, and he came back, then he left. He's disposing and hiding whatever he was doing with that evidence. Only one person knows. With that blue rain jacket, that tarp, incredible circumstantial evidence that we ask you to consider when you go back there. Is Shelley making that up? How could she make that up? How could she know there'd be a blue tarp in that closet? Same closet, same stairs, he went upstairs, we went upstairs.
He makes a sentence here that I've said 1,000 times. I was going to ask you if you guys thought it sounded familiar.
I can't explain the tarp on the chair, don't have to.
I can't explain the tarp on the chair, I don't have to.
We can't answer every question.
We can't answer every question. See, everybody, when we're doing true crime, there's these little minutia type questions that people, they just always want to have an answer for every single little tiny thing. And there isn't an answer sometimes. We just don't get it. But go with the bigger picture, and you'll have a better chance of being on the right track. These little, sometimes the little minutia matters, but oftentimes it doesn't. Just think about what you're asking about. We get that a lot. It's just sort of things like, Gray, why do you think he's got that type of shoe on right there? I don't know, nor do I give a shit. I don't care why he's got that type of shoe.
That doesn't mean it's not reasonable doubt. She saw a blue tarp light, it was in that closet, and it's got gunshot residue on it a few days after. Maggie and Paul were brutally murdered. And that's consistent with every reasonable hypothesis.
You heard that,
And you know the thing he told Shelley?
I don't feel bad for Buster at all. I think Buster is going to be, he's exactly the same type of person. You know, hopefully he'll, be able to control himself somehow. And he went up on stand and he lied. I think that Buster knew that here's what I think. I think Buster knew that his dad killed his mom and kid, but Alec told him, I was on drugs. You need to help me get out of here. Then we can build the life that we always wanted. And he went on the stand and he made up a bunch of shit. Buster did. And he, at one point he kind of turned on his dad a long time ago. And then he came back around to defending him. And I think he really knew that his dad killed Paul and his mom. I have no doubt at all. And I don't buy any of the sympathy or anything like, he's going to have the same life he was going to have regardless. His uncle will take care of him. Everybody will be doing just fine. I feel bad for Buster that he lost his mom and a brother, but I guess I don't feel bad for him regarding Alec. Yeah, right? I feel bad for him losing his mom and his brother, but not the situation with Alec and all that stuff. It's garbage. That's my opinion. Okay. But they didn't deserve to die, though, Grant. Yeah, I know. Nobody said anything about that. That sentence comes up more often than what did I forgot the term Zozo used earlier.
You getting married, aren't you? Remember saying that? You getting married?
Yeah, I think so. Jen.
If you need any money or help with it, let me know. It's incredible time. Oh, and your job, don't you work from school? I got friends down there.
Yeah, there's the bribe part.
you
Hey,
Blanca?
don't you work for the school? I got these friends. It'll give you.
If you want me to.
I'm gonna go back a little bit.
And you know the thing he told Shelley?
Thanks, Irene.
The night when they were talking. You're getting married, aren't you? You remember her saying that? You getting married? If you need any money or help with it, let me know. It's incredible time. Oh, and your job, don't you work from school? You know, I got friends down there.
This is all the stuff we were talking about the other day, man. Just like this.
I was there 35.
I mean, every time I do the recap, I say he told Shelley to have a different time, and he bribed her with a job and other things. It's a really important element. There's no reason to do that.
Make up the sequence of facts that lead to the conclusion he's trying to get her to say.
Now, Buster's not next.
I wasn't outside long. Blanca. Blanca loved Maggie. I didn't realize that really until I talked to her just a few times. I met her years ago in a federal prison. Remember when I saw her? Remember her name? But you know, even when Blanca was quit working for him for a while, and you remember she had health problems and said she saw Maggie on the road somewhere, and they kind of pulled off and just talked, just called up. Blanca cared about Maggie. Knew her so well, she knew what she wore to bed and what she didn't wear to bed. And that kind of bothered her about the clothes that were laid out. Some undergarments, which she knew she didn't wear. But Blanca's texting Maggie's texting Blanca on June 7th. And in one of his statements, and I'm going to get to those, he said, you know, Maggie wanted to come. She wanted to come. Well, no, sir. No, she didn't. She was having to work on her that stuff. He tries to say in here today, look, she was in Charleston. She was going back that stuff. Remember the text of Blanca, well, I left the workers there, but I guess it'll be okay. He had said, come, I want you to come. She didn't want to come. We also know that from her sister Mary, who had a little regret in here today. Didn't hear much regret from over there. You know who regretted? Who was real? It was Mary. I encouraged her to go. She didn't want to go. They got in close. You know, it's like siblings. Jane, Marshall, James, I had to get my siblings on the record. We love each other. But you had that relationship, you know, we weren't close. Then we got closer as the kids got older and got going. We were close, we talked. One of her best friends. And she told her, why aren't you going over there? She regretted that. But she killed her about it. But that refutes his lie. Oh, she wanted to come, she wanted to come. No, so you wanted to come. Why? Had he already planned it out? Was his world collapsing? He didn't have to. We don't have to prove he did. But he got her there. She wasn't planning on being there. Blanca's got the food ready. She leaves. Stay on the real train for a minute. She goes home. She gets a call sometime that night. And this is real. What did she do when she hears? She drops the phone. Remember that? Her husband had to get on the phone. She dropped the phone. Real emotion. Because she cared about Maggie. That's real. And you remember she described that day when she left, Alex leaving, and I put his shirt up, got his collar, helped him with his, I assume it was a blue jacket, I don't know. Described the shirt. Remember, just kind of tucked it in. And now Alex's second interview.
Right about that, Dan.
When he's confronted by David Owen.
I think that's why. I think. See, here's what I think the deal is. I think Alec knew he had to kill Maggie and Paul, and he didn't realize I think he felt shitty that he killed Paul, and he's always kind of. It's something that's always been. That's why he cried. You know, it's hard to know if he's even really crying, but at least he showed somewhat of emotion regarding. It's hard to get snot to come out of your nose if you're just goofing around. You know, so he showed emotion for Paul, but never for Maggie. Do you remember, like, Maggie he never even. Every time he brings up Maggie, he looks like he was happy, blew her away. You know, I mean, it was crazy. He didn't do anything. I bet you the jury noticed that he didn't ever. And so, like, Paul, it's weird, the whole situation with Paul, and I think what Dan just set up above about him, you know, he survived the first shot. And then I don't think it was some weird thing where he was about to pick up another gun and then shoot him like that. I think he was standing there, he shot him, and then he sees him staggering out. And yeah, I mean, you got to wonder, why did he shoot from the side then? So maybe it is possible that he went to grab, because you would have just stood right in the same spot and shot him again. So, you know, it could have been, yeah, he shoots him and then he's moving on because he knows Maggie's going to be coming really quick, about to grab the AR-15 300 blackout, and then goes, oh shit, he's still alive, and then boom, right from the side as he's exiting the door, then quickly grabs the blackout and runs over. Maggie's rushing over just like they show in the video, and prosecution's theory and everything.
And they actually showed him the video of the tree. They showed him that. Did you change?
What's
When I
funny?
saw you that night, you were wearing shorts. When did you change? And you remember what Alex said on that interview? When is that? You sure when is that time was that? And then he told him the time, 7:44, whatever it was. He said, I guess I changed after that. Well, those are the clothes he was wearing when you murdered Maggie and Paul. Those are the clothes. And what does Blanca tell us? That was on August 11th. She said sometime mid-August. I didn't know this. You can't make it up. Sometime mid-August he comes to see her. Do you remember that shirt when I left that day? I said, no. I mean, yes. It's a Vinnie Vine shirt. You weren't wearing a Vinnie Vine shirt. I fixed your collar. He tries to get her to tell what he was wearing. He tried to say, no, you weren't wearing that shirt. And that Columbia shirt, you got one of those. But guess what? I ain't seen that one since. I have not. Blanca and Shelley. That's great circumstantial.
Thank you, American lady.
Did you ever see that shirt yet? Never saw that shirt. Ever. Where's the shirt? You know what? I forgot about Shelley. I don't think this was mentioned. When Shelley sees Alex that night, you remember what she said about his clothes? Shorts, shirt. You know what she said about his shoes? Sperry type, cloth shoe. You remember that? When Dave Owens and those get there, and when I think I accidentally put some of the dust out on the... Those aren't Sperry shoes. He's changed his shoes again. I'll get to you in a minute why that's important. From going to visit his mom, he's got Sperry type shoes, he comes back and puts on the tennis shoes. Why? I think, is she making that up? Like I said, I've never seen the shoes before. When I got there the next morning, there was a t-shirt looked like it'd been pulled down, fell on the floor. Where does he keep it? She washes her clothes. Those are clean shorts up there. This is where he kept his shorts. Did he wear these shorts much? No, he didn't wear them much, but she knows that family. She knows where the shorts are, where the shoes are. Do you remember the Sperry shoes? Yeah. Did you see those? Never saw them again. Never saw that shirt again that he was wearing in the video. Never saw it again. And when he confronted her at the house about what he was wearing, yes, she had real feelings. And told y'all about that. And told law enforcement about that. Is that real? And why is that important? Because it goes back to credibility and common sense. Those were clean clothes that Shelley had washed. Excuse me, that Blanca had washed. And when we get there on the scene that night, you remember Laura?
Yeah, I think he was great today, though, Shanna.
What's up?
No way around that. He was
Sitting in the
awesome.
back, David's in the front, Alex in the front, his lawyer's on the side. And you know, it's something else I don't understand. Your wife and your son have just been killed, and you're worried about having a lawyer around? And I said, well, you know, just sled agents. We need to have a lawyer around. Really? My wife and son have just been butchered, and I'm worried about having a lawyer. But they did. And that threatening, overbearing, cheating, manipulating. You remember when I asked old Dave? Put his hand on his shoulder.
Oh.
So did Laura.
Sorry you're
What are you
sick,
doing?
Amber. What's
I
going
got a
on?
heart.
What's going on, Amber?
Is that rushing to judgment? I got a heart. They didn't rush to judgment. They were saying, tell me what happened. Tell me
Yeah,
what happened.
I agree with that, Shannon.
Well,
That's what I was saying. Every day I'd say,
He
this
starts
guy's
looking at his
crazy.
phone. You can check my phone, the alibis that he's created, that he's doing. And he says, I went and ran. I got on my knees over here. Went and ran, and I tried to take the pulse of Paul. I'd still be on the ground, I'll get myself. And I tried to turn him over,
I've been up to it.
trying to check his pulse.
Yes.
Really? I went to Maggie, checked her pulse, and you can't do that in 20 seconds now, trying to say you can. You can't. And they've tried to change that. And he never did it. Because what
Why do you say that, Dina?
What did she say? What did Miss Rutland say? He was clean, he was clean, he was clean, he was clean. He washed up. Yeah, and you hear the water running in the dog video. You hear it. He washed up. And this phone, I tried to make a big deal about this phone that you saw. You do see right afterwards when we know he was down there. There's some movement on Maggie's phone. But every expert has said, just because if one phone's down here and the other one's walking, you're not going to have steps on that phone. He took Maggie's phone, the golf cart, however he got, drove back up to get those shorts and that shirt. And yes, you can get it and manipulate it and call to see if you made a call, put it down. It's not going to record steps on that phone because it's not moving. But that doesn't mean it wasn't with his phone. Don't fall for that. That's not real. Every expert said that. Every expert said that. And doesn't that make sense? You can grab it, make a call, put it down, you keep walking, it's not going to record if it's there. If it's in the car, it's in the Suburban, and I'm getting to that. So what happened? And this is why I asked Miss Rutland. And they're bringing in drug use. If he did as many pills as he said, he'd be dead. You can't take that many pills. That's your common sense. But why I ask her this, and I'm asking, I want to look at every one of y'all. Tell me what he was like in that car. You got the video. Did he appear to understand you? Yes, sir. Were his answers timely? Yes, sir. Were they subject matter appropriate? Yes. Do you understand him? He can understand you. Look, he's thinking. He's opened the door. Was he in his right mind?
What's his side fringe?
Of course he was. And why is that so important?
I think he's good.
He says he didn't go down there. Is that enough? Yes. With everything else, that's enough. I never went down there. He's in his right mind. I never went down there, Dave. I never went down there, Lord. I never went down there after supper. I stayed up. I took a nap. He goes from taking a nap from 6, 7. Then the next time they met, 6:10, I took a nap. August 15th. You sure you're down there? Or up there taking a nap. I took a nap. I never went down there.
Hey,
never, ever. You think he would have taken the stand and said, you know, I was down there, y'all, if that video hadn't come out on that phone? Well, no. Now, under Mr. Waters' cross-examination, I lied. Why'd you lie? I wrote it down. I'm still not clear.
Thumbs up, everybody. Thumbs up.
I had paranoid thoughts. Usually I can take a deep breath and get
Or as Jenny Penny would say, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
through it.
Can you give a thumbs
But I
up?
couldn't, so I just lied.
Please.
Once I lied, I continued to lie.
Thumbs up.
And he
There it
continued
is.
and continued and continued until 627 days later when he took this stand. The first time he'd ever told anybody. Anybody. He told his family, he told his friends, he told everybody, and they believed him. I wasn't down there. And why is that so critical? That's the time of death. That's when it happened. That's what the records show. That's when the conversation, yes, it is important. Paul, who uses his phone all the time, Paul is in a conversation about the dogs, interacting. Well, send me the picture. He does. And then he stops. Yes, that's what it happened. And then Maggie's phone. A little bit text. She reads that text. I think she went to her car. Y'all decide. Nobody knows. One person knows. She goes to her car. And she's got some rings there she's putting back on. I think she's got 2 rings there, and she's putting on another in the car. Maybe they've been working in the kennels. There's one shooter. There's only one shooter. And she hears that shot, and she comes back around. She hears the shot. She reads the last text. Y'all will have it in there. I think she opens the thing about Solicitor Murdaugh. He doesn't. And then you don't see anything else. You don't see anything else on the phone. So is that common sense? Yeah, that's when they were gone. Yes. Yes. When they interact so much. Yes. That's common sense. And that's why it's so important. You want to help law enforcement? You're in law enforcement? I was down there. Y'all know what? I was down there. I didn't take that nap as long as I did. Did you hear anything? Why would you not give that information? Okay, then the 10th, with his lawyer, Mr. Griffin, in the car. Did you go down there? No. Look at him. Is he coherent? Is he under the influence of anything? Is he withdrawing? No. I want to help you. I want to help you. And then on the 15th, here's this video. Here's you in the tree. Now, Rogan says he thought he heard you down there earlier. Well, I don't think so. Why not say it then? Think about it. Well, it's just Rogan's word. Does that make any sense? Just Rogan's word. No, sir, I can handle that. He made a mistake, like Shelley did. Like lock it and close. No, sir. I can handle that, though. But when the video comes out, he's stuck. He's stuck.
Yep. That's so accurate how he described that right there. But again, it was like a lot of those same elements we've been talking about on this show.
Yesterday morning at 2:53 in the morning, I don't sleep much during trials, but I kind of woke up. And what he did when he took the stand was corroborated that he's a liar. He corroborated the fact he doesn't tell the truth. The one thing that was more important than anything. And you know,
Thanks,
they're putting
Ben.
these law enforcement on trial, talking about blood evidence.
Hey, look at based on our polls, at least 80% of the freaks have common sense. So I'm out here. You know, I got to be honest. I'm proud. You know, I know some people hate my channel because I don't allow bullshit, but I think we've weeded it down to. It's cool when we see our poll numbers are different than other places. You know, you look at it and you go, "Wow, we're like 82% or something." You know, sometimes 80% to 20 that he definitely did it, and there's no reasonable doubt or anything like that. And you go to these other places, and it's like the other way. I mean, people are. It's cool that. Over here, common sense and reasonable thinking in general. I mean, I know there's some people out there that it's pretty much more. It's way more common here, you know. So that's why a lot of people just don't have time for the garbage on this channel. It's just the way it is.
Talk about other things that were presented to the grand jury, which that blood evidence was investigated, and the state didn't offer it. That's what you do when you're...
Yeah, see, I thought this was a brilliant part about the blood spatter on the shirt that was never even used, right? I mean, but they made it seem like it was. Yeah, isn't that amazing, Danielle? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, thank you to Rebecca Ann and Matthew Dulia, and also to Lisa Murphy. I got some more notebooks to send out. Yes! All right.
When he took the stand was corroborated that he's a liar. He corroborated the fact he doesn't tell the truth. The one thing that was more important than anything. And you know, they're putting these law enforcement on trial, talking about blood evidence, talking about other things that were presented to the grand jury, which that blood evidence was investigated, and the state didn't offer it. That's what you do when you're a prosecution. Didn't try to offer it. Now they're trying to put us on trial for doing our job.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So the shirt, right? Like, that's exactly right. They never used the shirt. So why was it brought up? Other than, oh, look, they're making up lies about Alex. They're trying to do, well, it wasn't used at trial. It had nothing to do with the trial. The case was already made. It was just some element that they looked at and thought it was blood spatter, but it wasn't. I mean, you know, it didn't help in any way the prosecution at all, at any time. Now, the grand jury heard it. You know, I guess maybe they could look at it like that, but it has nothing to do with the trial itself. What was it? Paul's final FU to Alex. So happy he was convicted. Yep.
Think about that. Blame everybody else. Well, we looked into this, and it didn't turn out to be.
Hey, Dan, I think that's the one I got to record right there. That'll wake you guys the hell up.
So now we're going to blame them. We didn't try to present it. Isn't that ironic? They're now jamming us for doing our job. Jamming us for doing our job. All the evidence of the guns, and I'm going to get that in there. Timeline, the incredible timeline, his lies, all of that, the gunshot residue, all of that's presented. And do we make mistakes? Yes. And that happens in life. But you don't lie and misremember being at the scene of a murder when you said you weren't even there, or being at the scene where your family was brutally murdered. You don't lie about that. That's not a mistake. That's not a mistake. This is the state of South Carolina versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, not the state versus David Owens, not versus Sledge. And I want to tell you something. Sledge, Walterboro, Laura Rutland's working with David Owens. Sledge starts working with the FBI. They're working together. This is, think about it. Rush to judgment, they gave that man every benefit of the doubt. Oh, what are y'all doing? How's it going? You remember that third interview when he was, David Owens said, well, and I submit to you, they're taking those interviews where he's trying to come find out.
Where are you saying that they were shown on TV, Mark? What do you mean the jury was shown on television? Unless they all agreed, no, it wouldn't have been okay.
That's what they've got on him. Well, how's this thing looking? How's this thing looking? Well, we've got some shell casings. By Maggie's body, out over there where y'all shot in the range.
Where was it shown? What are you guys talking about? When was the jury shown on television? What are you guys talking about? When on? I watched the whole thing today. I didn't see it. And that's actually, they're just using a feed that somebody else has. When who walked out? My screen was black when he walked out. See, the one I was watching live on Fitsnews, the screen went dark. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I was watching it, but my screen on the same channel went dark there. Oh, right before they cut the black? Oh, let me see. I mean, I guess I don't really want to show it, right? Can I just look really fast if I have it? Let me finish with him, and then I'll look.
And some shots out there by the side of the house, the shell casings, they all came from the same gun. All cylinders in the same gun. You think if they could find an expert to refute that, they would have? And Alex says, oh, really? So the gun was there? Yeah. You see his reaction? They all came.
Yeah, Fitsnews uses Law and Crime's feed. I mean, it's just something you pay for, and then people can...
From the same gun on Maggie. Now the other one, Mr. Griffin tried to argue. Paul Greer, yeah, it could have come from that shotgun. Don't know. Is that credible evidence? But it could have. Not saying it did or did, but it certainly could have. He's got that gun. It's got Maggie's blood on it. Don't know if he used that or not. But I know the assault rifle's missing. And Will Loving comes from a fine family in Columbia, I can tell you that. Says we were down here not in March, it was more like April or May. We were shooting his gun on the side of the house and no shell casings. That's where they found them. And lo and behold, the shell casings match the shell casings around Maggie. They were all cylinder in the same gun. They came out of the same gun. They've been in the same gun. Yes, Mr. Waters is right. That's a family-owned gun. And is that incredible, circumstantial, and direct evidence? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, it is. That's powerful. You can feel it like the rain. The murderers come in. There'll be a gun there. We'll just use their gun. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. He said that nobody has their numbers. They'd have to reach out by themselves to the media.
You ever watch Columbo? When I first looked at this case, this is an episode of Columbo, except this is real. And you get to see one of my heroes, the detective, didn't always look that good with all that, but you got to see the crime, and then you got to see him figure it out, the mistakes they made, and that's what happened here. He killed him. He thought he could get a timeline.
I know they did. They're using the same feed. I just explained that. Try or whatever the hell your name is.
But it got him. Within 20 seconds, he's texting Maggie on that phone when he's passing the location of her phone. Is it common sense? He threw that phone out, called her, and threw it, and the orientation didn't go on. They said, if you pick it up, yes. And we had somebody come in here, you throw it rough, and it doesn't come on. And what are the chances it's anything else? He almost had to bump into him. And you take this new story, I was down there till 8:50, whatever, go and take a quick nap, come back, he didn't hear the shots, just happens to come back. It's common sense, don't leave it with you, take it back there with you. I'm down there now, my wife told me this. I'm down there under this new story, and the deal was to come talk, go see my mama at 9:30, and you're right down there, you've just seen them now. Well, you said before you hadn't even seen them, don't forget that. And you go up to the house, why don't you say, hey, Max, I'm going to go see Mom real quick. It's just a few minutes later. No. You go up there, you take a quick nap, you know what, I'm going to try to call them, let them know I'm going down. Does that make any sense? And then when you get to the line, you'll see the light. When y'all went out there yesterday, those trees are much lower. Go back in and look at the way it was. And I think even Buster said when you get down there, if the light's on, you can see.
I like that whole representation there. Donnie R. said, thank you for your trial coverage. You made it much easier to watch. Alex thought he planned the perfect murders, but he didn't count on Papa filming at the kennels. Boom! That's it.
Why don't you just go on over there? Hey, I ain't going down there. No? Doesn't hear anything, doesn't do anything. He just takes off. He just takes off. Does that make any sense? We've proved that nobody else could. With that timeline. Does it matter when he's rushing back? Yeah. I doubt he's ever killed two people before. So he's not thinking, he's frantic. Puts the wrong two shells in his gun. Coming back, he's got Maggie's phone. It had been sitting there, that's why the steps weren't on there. He's moving. He gets it. I can't take his phone with me. He's a lawyer, so he tosses it out. That's the only thing that makes sense. And what did he say about Paul's phone? When I started to get, I didn't know I got it out, and then it kind of just popped out too. Does that make any sense? You got to evaluate everything. You can't believe somebody's credible one thing. How can you believe them on the ultimate issue when they said they didn't? When the only thing they corroborated for you throughout the investigation, throughout this trial, and throughout Mr. Ward's cross-examination is he's a liar. And that's all you can do.
Thank you so much, Quietly Frozen. As crazy, frustrating the trial has been, thank you for watching every day.
As crazy, frustrating,
condensing and watching again with us.
And watching again with us. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was I gotta admit, that was some of the longest days I've had. Is I would watch the full trial, but record it at 1.5 speed, and then edit out all of the breaks and garbage and even pauses and weird stuff, and try to get down to like 3 hours total instead of the 8. And we would watch it all. Some nights were 5-hour shows because I talk sometimes as well. Gotta put these all in here though. Boom, there we go. You're in the system. So, thank you very much. Quietly Frozen, the coolest name in YouTube history. That's my calculator, yeah.
The 3 witnesses that were beautiful, that were uncontroverted. And one was Paul.
Well, thanks, Quietly Frozen.
He didn't testify to you up on the stand, but he testified to Dr. Reamer, and he testified to his son. And here's so beautiful of evidence. It's so pure. He didn't know he took that video. That's why he said he wasn't down here. And this is beyond all that. We respectfully submit. Paul knew. Dad, I got some insurance. I got some insurance. Not the kind of insurance you made money off of. An insurance some clients you gave back and some you didn't. I've got some insurance on you. I don't know why you killed me. I made some mistakes. You heard a lot of good things about Paul too. I know I put your life, open your life, your fake life with this boat case. Your finances are coming out. I know that. But if you go lie and say you weren't down here, I got you. I don't know when it'll come out. Maybe you'll go ahead and lie. But this is going to come out. Paul had that insurance on him. And maybe that's why he was worried about that phone. And you can't make that up. Because remember when I asked David Owens, did anybody else in the world know that that video was out there except Paul? No, sir. And that's incredible evidence. And it did sit there until law enforcement working together, the states, the local, the SLED, everybody, got it out. And that's great law enforcement. Thank you. Yes, and that's when the case changed. Along with all the other. Mag testified to you. He shot me here. He shot me here.
Yeah, exactly, Mag. That's exactly what he
And look
did.
at all the shell cases around. Y'all look at them. They're the same ones that Will Loving shot with Paul. They're the same ones that have been shot down there. Yeah. They came out of the same gun. That's great direct interpretation. And finally, and my daughter-in-law, Sally, and my Aunt Cissy still calls my dad Jack this. My daughter-in-law been married about 3 months, one of the happiest days of my life, because they were happy. They were watching that kennel video. She and her dog Tater. And when Bubba started to bark, that's what my aunt calls him, bad Bubba, Tater barked. And Sally said,
well, cool, Aaron.
That your best witness in here are the dogs. You know, some people say they got a sixth sense. You think Bubba knew? You think Bubba knew something? You got Alex to say something. Bubba!
God, Jesus!
Thank God for Bubba.
God!
DNA, and that DNA when people live together.
Oh my God, I wasn't even, oh. I'm so glad I wasn't on camera right then. There was something, it was so weird. What? Oh, wow.
My daughter-in-law.
God, that was.
Been married about 3 months. One of the happiest
How
days of my
loud
life,
was
because
that?
They were watching that kennel video. She and her dog Tater. And when Bubba started to bark, that's what my aunt calls him, bad Bubba, Tater barked. And Sally said, isn't it something that your best witness in here are the dogs? You know, some people say they got a sixth sense. You think Bubba knew? You think Bubba knew something? You got Alex to say something. Bubba!
God.
Thank God.
Every time.
DNA, and that DNA, when people live together, you have it all over your shirt.
I should get that clip.
But DNA, in this case,
I want to wake people.
Negates all. Thank you, Bubba.
I want to wake people up. That's the
And
one.
guess where Bubba is now? Bubba's with Blanca. Bubba's with Blanca. You can't make that up. And that puts him down there. And that's a lie he told and told and told. I went down there. Why aren't y'all doing something law enforcement? Why aren't you telling us you were down there? Why aren't you telling us you were down there? Thank you. If he tried to respond to the phone, as Mr. Griffin said, it would show that he was going to Malmina. He had to get rid of that phone. He had to get rid of it there. Finally, this is but your greatest power. My dad gave it to me when I was young. He said, read it. Your greatest power. You know what it is? Your greatest power is your power to choose. Choice. We've all got it. We're born with it. We use it every day. We use it when we treat people, whether we say hey, whether we're nice, whether we forgive people. We make good decisions, we make bad decisions. But what my dad always told me, don't blame anybody else. If you make a good choice, that's good. Don't get too cocky, be humble, but that's good. But if you make a bad choice, you're responsible for it. The consequences. It's your greatest power. And for whatever was going on in his mind, his world's collapsing. It's coming down. All these worlds coming down financially. He's confronted that day by somebody's law firm. Where's this check? He's got another hearing coming up. His motive, don't have to have it. But yeah, it's there. And is this rational? When he said that, is that rational? Was it rational to be on the side of the road and claim you're shot? And when you're in the ambulance, and go watch this if you need to, and you're talking to the officer in the ambulance, and you say, what happened? Oh, by the way, when he killed himself, he called 911. He called 911. When he told the officer in the ambulance, well, what happened? Well, some guy shot me. He even did a sketch. He faked the sketch. But what did he tell the guy in the ambulance? It sounded like a shot. He's trying his world. And he says there in that last interview with the call-in interview, Mr. Harpoon and Mr. Griffin, what you got in there? Ryan, I'm sorry. I lied about everything. I was under a lot of pressure. Had a lot going on. Really? Your wife and your son were murdered 3 months ago. And now this is the real Alex. Well, my world's coming down. My world, Alex's world is coming down. Been confronted by his law partners. Losing his job. Now it's me. My world's being affected. Not about that, but now. I'm sorry I lied. I've lied about everything. Richard Alexander Murdaugh loved, I think he loved Maggie. I think he loved Paul. But you know who he loved more than that? You know who he loved more than that?
Himself.
And who he's going to make sure that life, wanted to make sure that life, he loved Alex. And he exercised his greatest power of choice to make sure that life continued, or try. And it couldn't. And now, ladies and gentlemen, after his honor charges you, you're going to go back there and exercise your greatest power. Based on the evidence you've heard, the evidence you haven't heard, the credibility, the believability of the witnesses, and especially of Richard Alexander Murdaugh. Who has lied and lied and lied and lied, and it's been okay. And he got you through. It stops here. We respectfully request it stops here today. No, it's not there. And we're going to exercise our greatest power and find you guilty of killing Maggie and Paul. Thank you.
Yeah. I thought it was just so great because it was just like made you just look at things common sensely, just like we try to do here. And it was just, man, I think that the cross by Creighton Waters on Alex and this closing argument by Metters, I mean, was just freaking amazing. So they did it exactly the way you're supposed to do it. Might have taken Creighton Waters a while to get there, but I think he did it the right way. Kind of laid the foundation, slow walked Alec into a lie that he was willing to buy into and move forward with. And at the end, he lied to you too, jury. Because look what he said to the first person at the scene. He hadn't been GSR tested yet. He hadn't been all the other things that he went through, rambling through. When Sled got there, the GSR test, lawyers started talking to me, and I just panicked and I lied. Except you lied when the first cop got there, meaning you already knew you already knew that the time frame of the murders. That's why you had to lie about that. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. All right, so let me play this music. I'm gonna go see if I can find that screenshot on the side after going over here. Just want to see if I can see it. And if the computer crashes, I'll be right back on. This Adobe Premiere stuff sometimes doesn't work. Oh, that's right, it's right over here. Definitely, I got the entire jury on there. And then right after that, they they just accidentally put that cut in there. Crazy. Yeah, those look like regular people. You know, obviously they're regular people, right? I mean, not aliens. All right. So. This is just kind of a recap of how the day was. Alright, so here goes the, let me get back to it. I did see the jury, yeah, they show every single one of them, even the alternate jury seats that are empty. I mean, it was like pretty crazy. Yeah, it was just a really quick thing. They were just trying to follow Alec out and made a mistake. You can tell. You can see what they were doing. Yeah, it's a pretty big moment to be able to film Alec leaving in handcuffs and then just totally spaced out right then. Probably getting in trouble for that one. It's pretty bad. It's a bad mistake. There's no way around it. All right, so let's get to the right here. This is the judge who's going to be giving. So right after that, he gave the jury instructions. I don't know if we really, I mean, if you guys are interested in listening to it, it's dirty.
Makes no distinction.
It is kind of interesting. I think the part that always makes me nervous is when they say, reasonable doubt is if it's something that causes you to pause. Really? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, if you pause for a moment, thinking about it, does that mean it's reasonable doubt? No. So I'm not really sure about that part.
at any time during your deliberations.
Maybe I'll just go to the end or something.
At any time during your deliberations, except only as provided by the court to review the digital evidence in this case. If your deliberations necessitate an overnight break.
I mean, do you even want to listen? I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to skip over it now. It would have been interesting if they were still deliberating to hear what they were, some of the problems. Let's see what this says.
Yes. The statement occurs without your own.
All right, let's see. This is just after he gave the instructions.
Stated for the record, whatever it is.
About excusing the alternate or not.
All right, what about it?
We've been going for 6 weeks, and if we could perhaps hold the alternate in the case there's a problem with the 12, and we have to.
Yeah, this part was, should we hold the alternate? Because usually after the jury's given the case, the judge lets the alternate leave, but there's only one alternate left, and they wanted to make sure to, so the judge erred on the side of caution and kept the alternate jury around just in case there was a need to replace one of the 12 seated jury members.
The alternate during the deliberations.
Yes. The statement occurs without your own.
Of course, the statute says alternate must be excused once the jury begins deliberating. And that's always a risk that is taken. So with the consent of the parties, if that's what the parties want, Mr. Murdaugh.
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to hold the alternate in the event something happens to any other juror?
Yes, sir.
Look, he's still got his stupid little confident sound to him.
All right, very good.
I'm up to it now.
So, madam, you will not be dismissed. You will remain as a member of the panel while the jurors are deliberating, but will need to be taken someplace separately from the panel to ensure that you do not talk with anyone or communicate with anyone, and we'll figure all that out.
You know what's amazing? Every night when I do shows, my total sub count drops. So I'm wondering if the trolls are just getting bored and they're just all leaving in droves. I really don't know. But hey, if you like the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Not only do we have great content here and cover all kinds of different cases normally, that we've been covering the Murdaugh case since the murders a long time ago, so just had to do this one. But we cover all kinds of different cases, and this channel has donated to various true crime related charities $138,000 from the income from the channel since January 2020. Okay, now if you can find any channel that's even close to comparable to that, let me know. All right, thank you.
In a few minutes. But aside from that, if you all will review.
See, like Zozo, we're down like 55 since the other day when I said, hey, look, it went up a little bit.
The exhibits with the court reporter and the bailiff, you can take the charge and the indictments in and the jury.
Keep on leaving, idiots. Come on. All the dum-dums, unsubscribe right now. Go ahead. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it again. We're going to have let's have another purge moment. If you believe Sandy Hook is fake, please unsubscribe from my channel. If you believe the earth is flat, please unsubscribe from my channel. If you believe we've never landed on the moon, please unsubscribe from my channel. If you believe Alec Murdaugh somehow should have been found not guilty in this case, please unsubscribe from my channel. You are all idiots. Bye-bye.
Jury may begin deliberating.
Your Honor, for the record, we have no additions or exceptions to your charge.
Okay, thank you for reminding me on that. Any additions or exceptions to the charge?
Voluntary intoxication, Your Honor.
Yeah, voluntary intoxication was not charged. It was not raised. I cited with the fact that it was not raised as a defense and would not be appropriate to charge.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Hey, look at, we had one idiot just leave.
Okay.
Look at that, we're at
How's everyone
106,
standing?
937. Yes, keep going, keep going. Come on, dummies. Come on, come on. I love purging dipshits. Okay, so right now we're at 106, 836. We just went down 4 more. And that means we lost the 4 more people in the background that do nothing on this channel other than lurk and are trolls. So keep going. Again, if you believe Sandy Hook was some sort of inside job, sort of like a what do you call it? A false flag operation or whatever the hell you guys think it is, then please get the hell out of here. That means you are very dumb, all right? And also, if you think the Earth is flat, like literally it's this flat sort of magic carpet floating around out in space, we just don't know because we're out on, we can't see it, then please unsubscribe immediately. That means you are dumb. All right? If you think we never landed on the moon and it was all done in some movie studio somewhere, then get the hell out of here right now. You are very dumb. All right? Thank you.
Clip on it. So, let's see, is there a separate room the alternate can go to for the time being? For the time being. That's for the time being.
Yep, we got rid of 1 more of them. There we go. Yes, he was deemed guilty. There we go. Keep on going, everybody. Let's keep getting rid of the dummies.
All right. Down there.
Thank you.
741, if you
Woodward
will
Stove.
follow court officer to a place.
Cool. Breads and buns must not have been talking about you then.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I approach with Mr. Waters something that's come up that I think I need to bring to your attention?
Okay, so there we go. That was that. And then we move forward to the... I hope I just flip right through that. Well, no. Here we go.
Chewbacca?
I don't know if... Hold on, let me move it off the screen again one more time. I
Yes,
can't remember if
like
I
exclamation
kept
mark.
that in on
Alex
accident.
was deemed guilty. Smiley face.
Oh yeah, I accidentally kept it on there. Shit. Thank God I switched it over. Alright. There's audio going on, but... Alright. Alright, here we go. Here we go. Let's start with this. God, I'm glad I went back and checked that. I accidentally left the jury back on when I expanded it back out.
Thank you.
'Cause I'd
Madam
edited-
Floor Lady, if you'll
I had
stand
taken
for
it
me.
out.
Have you reached a verdict?
Yes, sir, we have.
Is it unanimous?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, if you will
Oh, wait,
pass
hold
it
on.
up to the clerk, who will pass
Got
it to me.
my ugly face on there again. Sorry about that.
And you may be seated.
Oh, it feels great. Yeah. Well, of course he's going to appeal stuff. Yeah. So what? He definitely was guilty of the crime. He did it. It was proven he did it. I think their best angle is that the financial crimes were not supposed to be used for character, but the sheer number of them being brought up to prove the motive had that side effect, but that's just kind of the way it is in the real world. I mean, you can't unring a bell when you hear it.
The defendant will rise. Madam Clerk, you may publish the verdict, starting with the
I don't think so,
back,
Rebecca.
not with the, let's see, tell you again. Starting with the back, flipping them over one by one.
Okay.
No, they're not, Sarah Rodriguez. What's a joke is people that spend a whole once you go into the jury room, if you think the person's guilty because you've been listening for 6 weeks and you vote guilty, you're an idiot to stay in there for more than 3 hours doing that. So what they do is you go in there and you kind of go, does anybody have any lingering doubts at all? And you go, yeah, well, let's take a look at this. Okay, great. They would have been in there for a long time if somebody wasn't sure at all. They would have been in there a long time. The trial was absolutely devastating to Alec Murdaugh. The verdict turned out exactly. I was thinking there'd be one holdout, and that's usually what happens. But at this time, there was 12 rational human beings on there that got it right. Now, I'm sorry, you were probably one of the people that thought he should have been found not guilty, right? Right up there with Marty McFly, and the only just verdict is a not guilty. Man, I'm glad you weren't there. Wow.
State of South Carolina versus.
Docket number 2022 GS 15-00592, the State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, in the Court of General Sessions in the term of 2022, July.
Wish I could serve on one.
The
day.
State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0.
Hold on. I'm going to scale in.
Zero 010, CDR code 0116.
It was funny, the judge.
Guilty verdict. Signed by the forelady, 3/2/23.
There it is. Yep. You know it.
I served on a jury before.
3.
It was fun. We made a quick decision to Smiley.
Docket number 2022-GS.
Look at the difference. See, it's the same thing when he knows he's screwed. He does the blinking and head nod shit.
The State versus
Right.
Richard
Nothing
Alexander
now.
Murdaugh,
Nothing now.
defendant. Indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0010.
He would be the worst poker player in the world. You know, let me show you something. This is how. let me do an example of Alec Murdaugh playing poker. He's sitting there and he has a shitty hand. He looks like this. He has a good one. He goes. Yeah, and it just doesn't work, you know. You could just look at him and go, hey, wow, he's got a great hand. Forget it. He gets like when he's getting too excited about something.
0116.
Yeah.
Guilty
Come on,
verdict.
you know it, right?
Signed by the forelady, 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS-15-00593, the State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, in the Court of General Sessions, the July term of 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0010, CDR Code 0116. Verdict, guilty. Signed by the forelady. Date 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS15-00595. The State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, Court of General Sessions,
cool.
July term 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC Code -16-23-0490. CDR Code 0549. Verdict, guilty. Signed by the foreperson of the jury. Date 3/2/23. Docket number 2022 GS-15-00594. The State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, Court of General Sessions, July term 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC Code 16-23-0490. CDR Code 0549. Verdict, guilty. Signed by the foreperson of the jury, 3-2-23. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC Code 16-
Yeah, so he knows that one. As soon as he was found guilty of that, he knew he was going to be guilty of the murder.
23-0490.
So that's why I had that
CDR
face.
Code 0549.
I'm playing it again.
Verdict, guilty. Signed by the foreperson of the
Yeah.
jury, 3-2.
He was already told if you're found guilty of that one, you'll probably get the murder charge too.
3.
I'd like to see Harpoolian's face though, not just. Oh, and look at that! He stood right behind him over there. He's ready to put
Madam
those cuffs
Forelady
right on.
and members of the jury, if that is the verdict of each and every juror, please let it be known by raising your right hands.
No, that was the final one.
All right, thank you. Any individual polling requested?
This guy right here cannot wait. He just can tell he wants to put those cuffs on him.
All right, Madam Clerk, you'll need to individually poll the jury according to their juror numbers.
Number 193.
Rebecca, I have no idea what you're talking about. You keep typing
Was
in,
this your verdict?
talking about agreeing and
Is it still
disagreeing
your
and
verdict?
agreeing.
Yes.
And
Juror 254. Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 326. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 530. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 544.
Yes.
Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 572. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 578. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 589. Was this your verdict? Is it still your verdict?
one more time, everybody, for Alec Murdaugh.
Was this your verdict?
Yes, you
Is
too
it still your verdict?
can watch Alec Murdaugh on the Carnival Show
Was this
channel.
your verdict? Is it still your verdict? Juror 826. Was this your verdict? Is it still your verdict? Juror 864. Was this your verdict? Is it still your verdict? Your Honor.
The jury has been polled and the verdict is a unanimous verdict. If you will bring the alternate juror out and have her have a seat in the audience, please.
Sweet.
You can stand there or you can sit back there, whatever you prefer. Okay. Are there any post-trial motions?
None from the state, Your Honor.
Your Honor, we would just renew our previously argued motions for a directed verdict, and at this, on the grounds, on those grounds, we would make a motion for a mistrial and to set aside the verdict.
By the state, response.
Your Honor, based on our previous arguments, we would submit that the case properly went to the jury and the verdict is proper, and would rely on those arguments.
We've been here now 28 days, first few days of jury selection, and the remainder receiving testimony, an overwhelming amount of testimony and evidence that was presented to the jury for the jury's consideration. As I indicated to the jury during the jury charge or the charge on the law, that this was a matter solely for the jury to determine. The court found at the end of the state's case that there's sufficient evidence to find the defendant guilty if the evidence was believed by the jury. Likewise, at the end of the defense's case, when the motion was renewed, the court found that the evidence was sufficient for the jury to find the defendant guilty. The jury has now considered the evidence for a significant period of time.
And plus, Alec, you actually know that you did it right there. Okay? So if you didn't do it, you would have been going, I didn't do it. You know, you'd be kind of, you're not doing that.
And the evidence of guilt is overwhelming.
The judge said the evidence of guilt is overwhelming. Did you hear that, Marty McFly? Did you hear that? But I thought you said that the only just verdict is not guilty, and then left the channel in a huff saying, what did you say? You said, it was a great ride, Gray.
And I deny the motion.
Even the judge said that. That's amazing.
Mr. Murdaugh, you now having been found guilty.
You know, it's funny. The judge must have been sitting there going, man, this guy did it. This guy did it. God damn, I hope this jury got it. I mean, these
2 counts of murder.
You could probably make an argument that after it was over, the prosecution could have turned. Can you do a directed verdict on either side? Like if they were found not guilty, could you turn to the judge on the prosecution and say, listen, we feel like we proved that he's guilty, and the judge could then say, yes, we think he's guilty, or he does. See, that sucks that you can't. How do you know, Cindy?
Involving your wife and your son, 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. The burden now comes upon the court to impose a sentence. Given the lateness of the hour and the victim's rights that must be taken into consideration and complied with under the Victim's Bill of Rights.
Well, you know what's stupid is it's supposed to be argued before it's submitted to the jury. They try to do it after. But I've seen it after.
And consider what I would anticipate to be a number of people who might have something to say regarding sentencing. We will defer sentencing to a later date.
Now it says right here, oh man, jeez, happened. Oh, I went to a whole different sheet. There.
Of course, the minimum sentence for murder is 30 years. It says a
plaintiff or defendant can ask for it.
As to each count, and on the weapons charge, the sentence is up to 5 years, or 5 years, which has to be concurrent if a life sentence is imposed.
I guess in a criminal trial.
When would you all like to reconvene for sentencing? I would like to give everyone an adequate opportunity to prepare for it.
State will be ready at 9:30 in the morning, Your Honor.
Yeah, I think everything's in favor of the defendant in stuff like this. So even the asking for a directed verdict is in their favor, just in case. And then also, you have a jury. They find you not guilty. You can't then the prosecutor go, hey, judge, what do you think? And then, He wasn't supposed to be able to argue it again after the verdict, though. That was weird.
All right. The defendant is remanded to the custody of the Colleton County Sheriff's Department.
So this is where, just after this part here, he, he is pretty tall, so I guess he really was. That little measuring tape was way off.
And he may be taken away.
Bigger between the. Yeah, it was just after this. And I cut it away. Yeah, they're all of them are on
no
there.
No comment now as to the extent.
No, there's no death penalty on this one.
Nature of the evidence, but certainly the verdict that you've reached is supported by the evidence, circumstantial evidence, direct evidence, all of the evidence pointed to only one conclusion. That's the conclusion that you all reached. So I applaud you all for.
You know what I'm saying here? Like, all the hate you get when you do these shows. But look at this right here. What he just said. Even he's saying all the evidence. I mean, he literally.
Potential evidence.
I mean, it's awesome.
Direct evidence. All of the evidence pointed to only one conclusion. That's the conclusion that you all reached.
Right. So he's like, you guys did it right. You guys got the right answer.
So I applaud you all for, as a group.
And that's how it's been.
And as a unit, and individually, evaluating the evidence and coming to a proper conclusion as you see.
Hey, Bazby, I sent you an email earlier.
You saw the facts. Now that you've served for the next year, you're not eligible to serve again. Now, of course, many people never get called upon, but you're not eligible for the next year, and for 2 additional years, you can be exempted from service because no person is required to serve on jury duty in this court more often than once every 3 years. Tomorrow morning at 9:30, we will reconvene for sentencing. You all have no role in that because that's solely up to the judge, to me. You're welcome to come back if you want to and be a part of the audience if you like. I also want to thank the alternate juror who was locked away in a room by herself for these hours. Who
boring, dude.
Who's hung in there during that period of time. I want to thank you as well. Madam Clerk, what do you have to tell your jurors?
Thank you for your service and what the judge said as well. And I think we can release them tonight and bring them back in the morning.
No, they're off jury duty. They can come back if they like. And you don't have to if you don't want to. Typically, I've seen jurors wanting to see the end result of a case once they've
definitely gonna have to record that
into it. It's really an amazing thing with juries. Quite often, at the start of the case, jurors are really like, "Whoa, why am I here? I wish I wasn't."
Yeah, I think he's
selected.
gonna get life in prison.
But as time passes,
no doubt about it,
and the jurors become invested and really committed to the case and committed to seeing it through, and are very disappointed when they are not able to see it to a conclusion. And then along the way of serving, you end up finding out quite a bit about our judicial system and learning quite a bit, about human nature for sure, but also about the presentation of evidence and hearing from expert witnesses and really learning a lot of things that you'll be able to take with you when you leave jury duty. And to Madam Forelady, I don't know if you were hesitant initially or not, but you have stepped up to the plate and done a great job of leading the jury as well. And thank all of you. So the jury is.
All right, guys, you can call in now and talk about what your experiences were like, and if you think it was the just verdict.
Dismissed. Now, one thing before you go, of course, we have invested a lot in maintaining the privacy of the jury, of each one of you. And you are free at this point to discuss the case with anyone. Given the high-profile nature of the case, I'm certain that the many people in the media will probably want to.
I don't know. I think the bank charges might be federal. I don't know. This got to be a state thing here. I don't know what would make this a federal case. I think what he was put in a federal prison for his financial charges, and now he's going to be moved over to, I would think, be like a state prison at this point. That's what I would think, because the financial charges, I think, are federal.
Communicate with you, but they have no means of contacting you because under order that I issued, the identity of the jurors must be kept private. And if you decide that you want to speak with anyone, local, state, nationally, or internationally, that's your prerogative. However, should anyone harass you, please let me know and I will address those issues. If anyone through somehow or another discover your identity and harass you.
Well, they just did.
And rest assured I will intercede.
The big problem with filming that jury is it starts creating issues with future courts wanting to allow, trials being broadcast.
Your behalf. That having been said, you are free to communicate with whomever you might want to concerning the case from now on. And so with that, thank you, and you all are free to go.
Judge, if I could have
Yes.
if I could have you go to the jury room, and I'm going to meet you back there for just a few minutes.
All right.
Gather your belongings.
And as is my practice, I'll speak with the foreperson before you leave the building after talking to them back there.
How much do jurors make? $15 an hour now? Because everybody's like, oh, everybody should get paid $15 an hour. But when you're on a jury, it's not. Why not?
Anything else? Recess till 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Well, there you go. All right, well, that's it. And let's see, what do we got here? Well, if anybody wants to call in, you can call in. Other than that, might make it a shorter show, or I can just talk back and forth with you guys in the comment section. I thought it was really, it was an interesting case to go over. There was some really long, drawn out, almost useless things in the case. Like bringing out all those different guns. I really don't understand that part early on, just other than to say, look at all the guns they have. Or like, these are the ones that we tested. Yeah. I'm not gonna play somebody's presser version of it. No, I don't send out emails for the ones I send out. I just get it and send it. I think I did yours today though, Aaron. I just got it in the mailbox. I saw it. I remember your name. I think that would be the same cameraman who messed up and streamed the autopsy photo from the defense table. Well, it must be hard for 6 weeks to... Yeah, it's pretty easy to make a mistake in there. As a camera, I mean, I used to film weddings or whatever a long time ago. So it's sort of hard to always do everything absolutely perfectly. Especially when you have all these photographs all over the place and you got to film for 6 weeks. You might make a mistake here and there. Yeah. 15 for the whole day. What a joke. Jeez. I think it's lame how they, you're supposed to go in there, but then your life gets, that long of a trial? There's some people that live paycheck to paycheck, and you're getting $15 a day, you're going to be behind. It's not really right, It seems like once you get selected I could see that if you just go there and you're being selected, but once you're on a jury, you should get a minimum wage type of thing, don't you think? But if you go there and you're just sitting around waiting to be maybe selected that one day, then no. Okay? Then that's just, but as soon as you're on a jury, you should get that type of pay. If these experts get on there and get $8,000 a day, maybe that should be part of the fee, whatever the state pays. And I wouldn't put it on the defense. Yeah, some do have. If you have a salary job, they'll pay for that. Or, a lot of places you can take a day off. Remember that one case that we covered a long time ago where that killer, he convinced he got work release and then he escaped and then he murdered somebody? It was really ridiculous. And it wasn't just, it was work release. He was a murderer who got work release, and then he would just kind of, they'd let him do his own thing, and he would just have to show back up at the prison. It was that girl that was killed. I think he's still on the run, I believe. They haven't caught him yet. Yeah, the financial crimes are coming up. He's going to be back in trial. I'm not really that interested in covering those. I'll be honest with. I'll do it like a recap. He got convicted today of the Satter. Well, if the Satterfield one. Did they do them all together at the same time, or is it just Satterfield, and then all the other ones individually? Yeah. Well, maybe I could just make it a shorter night tonight, so I could just, after, how many 6-hour shows did we have? 4 to, at least 4 to 5.5 hour shows. There must have been 10 in there. It's crazy. I don't remember. Let me check. Yeah. It was really kind of a long odyssey there. There was a point in the middle where it was like, God, I could see people believing in reasonable doubt. They had it kind of dialed in, even just using the not reasonable doubt. You could see people believing reasonable doubt when they were using the cell tower data and the what was it? In the car, it was the park, putting it in the park or not. It came up with almost the same thing, but that GM data was incredible. And then the cell phone video at the kennels was absolutely, once you see that and you know that he always maintained that he was napping, and even when confronted with that at the police station in his third interview with law enforcement, and they said that Roro, they didn't call him that, but they said, Roro, he said he heard you in the background. And that was before they even knew forensically that the Snapchat video existed. And at that time, Alec, who knew he was down there, he could have said, oh, yeah, I was there. But he didn't do that. He maintained, well, it doesn't make sense because it doesn't fit my timeline. Yeah. See, isn't that funny? It doesn't make sense because it doesn't fit the timeline that I made up, so I can't say, yeah, that was me. That's hilarious. Thanks, Amy and Todd Stakely. We love you, Gray and Freaks. We live a mile from Riverbend Road in Bib. Oh, sweet. Oh, very cool, very cool. Is that how you found the channel? So Amy and Todd Stakely.
We live a few miles from Riverbend Road in Bib Company Al, the Daniel Almond Trout Bridge. We highly respect this channel. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, so what they're referring to is... Here, watch this. Let me do it. There it is. Alright, so back in 1961, there was a teen hitchhiker killed. You can see it right here. And we funded it 100% using the income from the channel. So the Freaks always support the channel every single night. And then I try to donate over 50% of the net revenue so that I can make an income on here. And also do a tremendous amount of work out there. Currently we have $34,000 remaining in a DNA fund. We've put 50 in it total. And the very first case that we solved using the fund was this one. We didn't. It's Identifinders International are the ones that do the forensic genetic genealogy. But this guy, this is the worst picture you'd ever could imagine. That's not what he looks like at all. Whoever drew this just failed miserably. So anyways, there was a hitchhiker that was in a vehicle in Bibb County, Alabama. Car goes off. He got picked up by somebody and the car went off a bridge into the water. This individual right here, I think, drowned, maybe broke his neck or something like that. And the driver of the car lived, but he didn't know what the guy's name was. And all he had was RY plus love on his arm, a photograph of him and a girl, various other things, these little laundry tags and things, but none of them had his name on it. So the town, after exhaustively searching, they buried him and they treated him like they were their own son. They would go back, every year and constantly be looking for answers and maintaining his gravesite. And then we spent, I think, $8,000 and had to take bone. It took a long time because originally it didn't work, so then we had to use enrichment. That cost a lot of extra money. And then we finally got enough nanograms of DNA, and it was uploaded to GEDmatch, and I had this FBI document on the case that talked about, they said he might have walked with a limp. And then when Misty Gillis was doing the genetic genealogy, she got a hold of a relative in Germany that was early on, and talked about an individual named Danny Armentrout, and that person said, well, it couldn't have been him. He had polio, and it's like, then she went, boom. And then it led to a brother that was still alive in Florida, and he ended up being identified. It was really cool. We gave his name back, and now the grave site it's a whole new gravestone with his name on it. And then, I think in this, right here, look at right here. See right here, it says, the money to embark on the inquiry, this is in the New York Post, have been raised predominantly by viewers of a YouTube channel, Grant Hughes Investigates, who would set up a forensic genealogy fund for use by Identifinders. Right? And see, that's it. The Freaks supporting the channel from the income from the channel. So it's like every single day there's funds that come in, and then at the end of each month I donate. Like this last month we did $5,000, but $2,500 again went into the fund. Knickknack, Innocence Project, and I think Rain. I don't remember if Rain was this month or not, but so there you go, everybody. This is a YouTube channel that actually makes a difference, but unfortunately, sensationalism sells, and we don't do that over here. And we got 5 right now sitting in the hoppers waiting to come to fruition. They're in sort of late stages. DNA has already been gathered. They'll be going to bioinformatics soon. 2 of them are in bioinformatics. And, there we go. So thank you, freaks, for allowing that to happen. And thanks again to Amy and Todd Stakely for and when they said primarily, the entire, we paid for the entire thing. Yeah. Quietly frozen. Alright. Well, anyway, I'm going to make it a shorter night, and nobody called in. I guess everybody's just, that's it, you know?
Rick.
Yeah. Yep, I'm gonna get out of here. I don't have anything to talk about, and I just need to take a little bit of a break tonight, if you don't mind. So thanks, Jim Lon and Arlene C for joining, Maxine Van Dyke, Eugenie, Tamara, not today, but tomorrow. Kim Brule, new member. Oops, that's not what I meant to press. It was this one. And Mag, Robert Richburg, Kami, Mag, Sabrina Rodriguez, Sonia, Karen Van Patten, Allie Cake, Pam Cakes, Sabrina Rodriguez, Cheyenne R, new member Lauren W, Travelin' Teresa, Cindy Lou, Christy with a cat eye, Beth Radish. Oh, and I missed at the beginning, it was let's see, it was Scoutin' Dude and what was with a double cat eye. That was right at the beginning. I can't remember. I thanked them earlier on though, but it doesn't show up on the screen right now. And then Beth Reddish, Griminator Patty, Tridelts, Carol Keesaw, Brianna 25, Nikki Zubs, Callie Gal 3, Claudia Neubauer, Brianna 25, Alicia Powers, Cat Eye, Vicky H, Kristen Russell, Justin Russell again, Irene Cipher, American Lady, Mag, Ashy Snow, Ben Hills, Danielle, Donnie R, and then Quietly Frozen, the coolest name in YouTube history with a quadruple cat eye. That was for her name. And then Kristen Russell, Candalee Woodward Stone, Danielle, WNC Granny, Brianna 25, Amy and Todd Stakely. Then on PayPal up here, let's see. Oh, let's see, we have 4 notebook orders. We got one from Lisa Murphy, Matthew Dulia, Rebecca N, and Snarky Cinderella. I'm gonna put them in here. I gotta put them in for the spin here. Maybe we'll do the It's a House mug just one last time. Alright, there we go. There we go. Alright, we'll do how about tonight we'll do one It's a House mug and a notebook. Alright, there we go. And if you happen to win and you already bought a notebook, then I'll send you, if you win the notebook and you happen to already be buying a notebook, so the 4 people that bought notebooks, then I'll send you the free cart mug with a sketch, so that way you have a notebook and a mug at the same time. What do you think of that? Well, Gray, what if I want another notebook? I don't know. It's just... Okay, here we go. I'm going to do the spin now. I know it's a little early tonight, you guys, so you have nothing to do. Why do you think he told him to go hunting at well, I think he was going to kill Rogan if he had showed up. That's what I think. I think he was going to kill Rogan that same night because he needed to. He probably saw that he'd been communicating with him and was going to bring him over there and kill him and say, yeah, he was over here. He was, you know, they were looking at the kennel and... Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Snarky Cinderella, if you're okay with that. I mean... All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is for the.
It's a house.
Mug. Wow, it was so weird. Her name popped into my head. I go, I wonder if Sabrina Rodriguez will win this. And there it was. 2 chances out of that whole thing, and one won it. Man, that's so weird. I actually thought that. You won, Sabrina Rodriguez. That's awesome. I must be a psychic. I was literally thinking her name right there. I was thinking, I wonder if Sabrina... Okay, this one's for a notebook. Here we go. Alicia Powers. Well, that's it. Anyways, thanks for the long journey. We'll have another one tomorrow. We'll do the sentencing thing, but I'll probably have more like a regular show type of thing coming, you know, for tomorrow. More like what we used to do until the trial came along, and then it was like, ew. Some more information came out on the Brian Koberger with like a... It's not really that interesting. It's just like, oh, hey, these are more things that he was looking for. The rest of them are just duplicate stuff. Is Sabrina, does she still hear Sabrina Rodriguez? Okay, well, I'll have to send her an email or something. Right, I think he was looking for Rogan because he saw that he was talking to him right around it. Maybe he wanted to feel it out and say, hey, you know, what's going on? And if he'd heard that he'd heard his voice, something might have changed. I don't know. So weird, just the strange coincidences that led to the conviction. Yeah, so anyways, thank you guys very much for supporting the channel and taking care of, you know, me and the show and allowing me to, you know, do this every single night, and I appreciate it. And you know, we try to weed out the crazy people, so you know, sometimes the numbers fluctuate. If I do a Brian Koberger animation video, I'll gain 800 subs in the first day. But that's not what we're doing now. We covered the Alec Murdaugh trial from the beginning and the case since the beginning. And so we're not one of the Johnny come latelys to the Alec Murdaugh case. In fact, this sound effect right here was from one of the jailhouse calls, and this one right here,
It's a house.
It's a house we've been playing on the show for like a year and a half at least. And this right here, listen.
It's a house.
Wraps up Alec Murdaugh just in that one phrase, don't you think?
It's a house.
Because what it meant from the very beginning. Hey, thanks, Dennis Stewart. Not sure what's next. See what was going on there, for those of you who don't recognize the...
It's a house.
Was, you know, in the 911 call, I'll say it for the 800th time. You know, he's doing, oh man, oh God, oh. And then the operator, at some point in there, had the gall to ask a Murdaugh, do you live in a mobile home or a house? And because he has so much pride in his stature in the community, his response was,
It's a house.
How dare you? It's a house! Like that, right? So, like right at that moment, we knew exactly what this guy was. Okay? And it's almost that right there made you realize he killed them. I mean, isn't that weird? Because we've been playing that audio clip because of that angle. Like that literally, just this
It's a house.
means he killed them. There's so much in that one little sentence, it's unbelievable. It didn't quite sell the whole thing, but you get what I'm saying. It's like he's so focusing on that. If your wife and your kid just got murdered in front of your face, would you really need to correct the 911 operator who had the gall to say you might have lived in a mobile home? Yeah. That's right, Danielle, exactly. Well, I'm always going to keep playing It's a House, you know. It's a House isn't leaving the show. It's just, you'll see another guy on the we use it all the time on here. It doesn't matter if the case is playing or not. It's just like saying this one by Grady Judd. Listen to this.
There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Wow. Those are big mosquitoes, everybody. Those are very big. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here and putting up with me every single day as best you can. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for
Hey,
quite
no
a
problem,
while
Amy.
now. And during this whole time,
You too.
I have not seen one person that is a
crime dissector, the projector.
I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gragel's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect,
That's right, Billy Juliana. How's it going, Billy Juliana?
I have no agenda.
I'm a pretender,
And I'll serve it to you straight without the
blender.
And in the end, I'm gonna send ya
Hey, you trying to imitate me?
The true offender.
I was trying to, but I don't sound like you, so it's hard.
Yeah, so I'll just
You
get
sure
right
don't,
on
Ray, you
with
sure
it.
don't. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest.
Would you just stick to the rap, okay?
Gosh, Gray, you're not very nice. I can sing John Denver too.
No, you can't. You suck.
Gosh, Gray, that's mean. Oh, God, it's so miserable.
Do you really feel that bad?
No, I don't. Okay, good night, everybody.
Oh, what a poser again! I got trapped again. He almost cried like Alec Murdaugh. It was totally fake and bogus. All right, see you.